So in my last video, I went over 5 good changes that I could come up with for the live action Snow White, and apparently acknowledging 5 good things from Snow White pissed someone off to the point where he wanted to block me. But not to worry, because in this video we're going to be looking at least 5 worst changes in the film. Now this movie already has enough hate surrounding it, and I don't want to necessarily add to that hate, but we just have to acknowledge the flaws in the film, and that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. So make sure you hit that like button, share and subscribe, and now let's get started. There will be spoilers in this video, so this is your warning. Number 1 on my list, I have to go with the songs in the film. Now, I've said this before that the songs in the original Snow White are not particularly near and dear to my heart, so I was expecting something with a wow factor from the new songs, but for the most part, the songs were just okay. Like, they didn't have that wow factor to me. And some of them are just pretty forgettable. Like, the only songs I can remember right now that I'm making this video are All Is Fair, Waiting on a Wish, and Good Things Grow. And the only part that I can remember from Good Things Grow is that chorus where they were like, and the good things grow. Whoa, yeah, that part was just so catchy. But the rest of the songs, not so much. And personally, I was expecting one of the new songs to at least have that old school Disney charm, like maybe a choral song, you know, something like the one that played during Snow White's funeral in the classic film. You know, just something that when you listen to it, you will be like, huh, that captures the essence of old school Disney magic. But I didn't feel that with any of the songs, and I may be reaching with this next one, but it felt kind of distracting, jumping in between old school songs like Whistle While You Walk and Hi Ho and their modern songs in the film. It felt like, let's say, listening to contemporary songs on Spotify and then in your playlist an old 1930s song just start playing out of nowhere. And if I'm in that kind of situation, I know that I won't hesitate to skip it so I can go back to the actual form of music I want to hear. So the songs in the film felt that way to me, and I know they were trying to, you know, modernize the film and introduce it to a new audience and all that. But we've had great songs lately that still capture that old school magic. Songs like The Night We Met, Margaret by Lana Del Rey, and this song, what's the title? That one that goes, I will never fall in love again until I found her. Forgive my vocals, but yeah, that song, something like that. Now imagine a song like that as a duet between Snow White and Jonathan. Like, it would be so beautiful. But anyway, I'll talk more on the songs in the film when I make my ranking video. I don't even know if I'm gonna make one, but let's see. So moving on to point number 2, and this one is kind of like a personal take, so a lot of you may disagree with me, but I actually think Rachel Zegler was miscast for this role. Don't get me wrong, she knows how to act and her voice is very beautiful, but she didn't just feel like a Snow White to me. And I'm saying this because her version of Snow White was marketed as a remake of the original 1937 version, unlike other Snow Whites that are just loosely based on the story. And when I say she didn't feel like Snow White, I mean like that grace and innocence and essence of Snow White. I didn't feel it quite a lot with her delivery of the character. Sometimes it was there and I'd be like, huh, that feels like Snow White, while in other scenes I'm like, I don't know. And mind you, this is not just a Rachel Zegler problem. Belle from Beauty and the Beast is another character that I feel like didn't totally reflect the OG character. Same thing with the live action Mulan. And I think the only characters that mirror their animated counterparts to me are Cinderella and Ariel, because I remember how Halle Bailey's speaking voice alone sounded like the original Ariel.
Oh, Flounder, stop being such a guppy.
Flounder, don't be such a guppy.
I don't see how a world that makes such wonderful things could be so bad.
I don't see how a world that makes such wonderful things could be bad.
And Lily James spoke in such a gentle tone that just reflected the character Cinderella.
I forgive you.
And then the obvious issue, that's her hair, and I hate to say this, but the Lord Farquaad comparison is quite accurate, and I don't know why they ended up with that look for her character, because we've seen Rachel in short hair and she looks stunning in them. So like, why did they choose this style for the film? I don't know. And on that note, on to point number 3, I have to talk about Gal Gadot's performance as the Evil Queen, because to be honest, it was not the best. Sure, in my previous video on the good changes in the film, I acknowledged the great costumes that were provided for the Evil Queen in this film, but as for her performance, it just felt very underwhelming. And again, there were times in the film where I was like, oh, she nailed this scene.
Where is Snow White?
Snow who?
You're protecting her.
Answer her, Majesty.
Where is she? Where's Snow White?
The cabin, Your Majesty. She was seen entering before dawn. There's been no movement inside since.
Gather the neighboring villagers. I want them to see justice served on their beloved princess.
While in other scenes, I didn't just understand what was happening, and it's a bummer because live action villains always deliver stellar performances in their film, but that was not the case here. Not to mention the fact that we've had some of the best portrayals of the evil queen in other live action Snow White retellings, where if we're to rank all of them, I don't think she will come out on top. So unlike Rachel that can act but does not fully embody the character Snow White, we have in Gal Gadot's case a situation where she definitely looks the part but she did not deliver a great performance. Number 4 on my list is the underwhelming delivery of some scenes in this film compared to the 1937 film, and this is the one that pissed me off the most because why is an animated film from almost 100 years ago looking better and having more grand scenes compared to this remake with a budget of what, over $270 million? And it's not like the film is supposed to have a lot of CGI like The Lion King or The Little Mermaid, so I don't just understand what the issue is, because tell me why this beautiful scene of Snow White dead in the glass coffin is replaced with her body being placed on a rock with some branches around her. Like they couldn't squeeze some money out of the $270 million to make a glass coffin. I don't just understand. And also, I was expecting more for the Evil Queen's transformation, like I wanted to see the potions be mixed by thunderbolts and you know, that dramatic transformation that we got in the classic film. But what we got in this film did not live up to the original, and that was very disappointing. And her death as well, like it was so underwhelming. Like the fact that she got sucked into the mirror, could that be a hint that she maybe did not die or something? But that aside, even with what we got, they could have still given us something that would resemble the classic death scene, like maybe after breaking the glass, a strong wind or thunder strikes and throws her and the mirror off the building, and then she like falls to her death with the pieces of the glass falling on her as well. That would have been something new and still similar to her death scene in the animated film. And that brings me to my final point, which is the idea of turning the 7 dwarfs into CG magical creatures. Like there's no justifying this one. First, the job that was taken away from little people only to waste that money to hire voice actors, motion capture actors, puppeteers, and of course the CG technicians, when little people could have been hired, given proper costumes, and then give us something worthwhile. Not to mention how the dwarfs were also turned into irrelevant side characters. Like this film could have existed without them had it not been that they were in the classic film. And I see this downgrade like let's say Beauty and the Beast, but without the Beast as a relevant plot point in the film. Or like how in the 2020 Mulan, they just turned Mushu into a phoenix. And then the new arc given to Dopey, it's not bad, but I don't see why that had to replace Grumpy's arc. Like couldn't they have just done the both of them? And while the new arc for Dopey was quite compelling, I could not just look at that CG face for long without being weirded out by it. All in all, the way they just handled the dwarfs in this situation is just a sad tale and a reminder that you cannot please everybody, so it's best to just stick to what you know, and in this case, they should have just stuck with what they had in the original film. So those are the 5 worst changes, or should I say aspects of this film that I could come up with. Let us know down in the comment section what you did not like about the film. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.